Hi, I'm Matthew Smythe from Belle Property, and welcome to the Property Report post-Easter for Sydney and the Lower North Shore. As we know, there's been nothing but positive reports around the Sydney property market now over the last 3 years. However, as you may have seen, there have just been a couple of reports that have just started sneaking into the media, questioning whether we are at the top of the Sydney property market or not. Let's delve into what's really been happening at the coalface in the property market to get a handle on whether there is real currency in what these reports are discussing. Here in May, just last weekend, we had 585 auctions across Sydney. Now this was down from 676 auctions at the same weekend last year. The auction clearance rates this weekend as well remain very consistent at 77.8%, which was up from 74.3% the week before, and only 1 year ago the auction clearance rates was 71.8%. So as we can see, despite stock levels coming down from this time last year, the auction clearance rates have actually gone up. The Australian Bureau of Statistics have also brought out a report recently talking about mortgage debt, and their statistics show that mortgage debt has reached, as they quote, an eye-watering $1.7 trillion across Australia. However, they also reference that that number is still only 26.7% of the value of homes and land that exist across Australia. Furthermore, according to the ABS, financial assets across Australia have grown by $652 billion since 2015, and this is way above the $246 billion increase in debt. Talking with key people that I know, they all believe that house prices won't fall sharply this year, as mortgage rates will stay low by historical standards and the unemployment rate is unlikely to rise. If we look specifically at the Lower North Shore just in the last couple of weeks, we can see some very strong prices are continuing to be achieved. At 4/24 Iredale Avenue in Cremorne Point, there was a one-bedroom apartment that sold there with no parking, no views and a walk-up, and it sold for $907,000 at auction. There was a sale at 28 Fairfax Road, Mossman, that sold off-market on 700 square metres. And there was a brand new benchmark set for the Lower North Shore with a sale of 10 Bay Street in Mossman for $22.5 million. Looking more broadly in the last couple of weeks, there was an all-time Australian record set with the sale of a lane in Point Piper, which sold post-Easter for approximately $73 million. Now that had been the Fairfax family home for 126 years, but it just shows that there's a lot of people who believe that Sydney is still great value. Despite reports from UBS and Citigroup inferencing that Sydney is at the top of the market right now, as we know, it still comes down to a couple of key elements, one of which is simply supply and demand. As you can see, when you look around me here on the Lower North Shore down by the harbour, the properties here are very tightly held and always in high demand. So irrespective of whether the market's up or down, whether interest rates are up or down, people still need a beautiful home to live in. And so these areas are always going to have their values underpinned, and we're always going to be in a position of strength should the market ever change down the track. If we look at interest rates as well, the RBA has kept interest rates on hold now for 9 consecutive months. And just personally, 4 years ago, I locked in for my own home loan an interest rate for a 3-year fixed period at 6.19%. Now that's ended, and I can now get a 5-year fixed interest rate locked in for an owner-occupied home loan for 4.2%. Historically, an auction clearance rate of 60% or better has been considered the benchmark for a good and stable property market here in Sydney. As we can see, while there have been auction clearance rates beyond 80% over the last couple of years quite regularly, the fact that the auction clearance rates post-Easter have been consistently sitting above 70% here in Sydney is the sign that we are in a very strong and stable market, and it's likely to continue for quite a while. These rates are unheralded in Australian property history, so it's hard not to see people remaining optimistic about the accessibility of money in these all-time unprecedented record levels. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call or drop me an email. Until next time, all the very best.